Yo, what's Gucci, guys? So today I want to talk about instinctual variants in Enneagram. Now, obviously, if you guys have been on the streams on Typology Odyssey, on the podcast, you heard either me or Ring talk a lot about the instinctual variants, the social, the sexual, right? Like, what does it mean? Why is it so important? But in my opinion, you do need to know this. Even when we use Naranjo and we just focus on subtypes, there is a big theme with people that they mistype individuals, even though this person doesn't fit the instinctual variant that they type them as in terms of a subtype. Oh, he's a social 7 because he's smart and he's this. He lacks any of the neurotic need of the social 7. There's no social instinct, yet he is typed as a social 7. God knows why. Don't just type in isolation, look at the big picture. That's the advice. So there are 3 instinctual variants. There is sexual, there is social, and there's also self-preservation. When it comes to the sexual, the way we describe them is intensity, is fusion, it is merging, obsession, arousal, what attracts you and what repulses you, energy, craving, push and pull, stimulation. When it comes to relationships and your bonds, you're not talking about the sexual instinct. Relationships and bonds and anything in between would be the social instinct, okay? So keep in mind, sexual is that kind of energy, right? You are drawn to something. You're fixated on it. That obsession, that compulsion, that stimulation, that fire. The fire is what the sexual instinct is really all about. It's not really about relationships. Now, when it comes to the social instinct, we have things like connections, communities, tribes, we have social power, we have society, and we have bonds, right? Connections with people, bonds. We have status and also ourself against others, contribution, a desire to be accepted, and social impact. So the true focus on relationships themselves, on bonds and connections, that is the social instinct. Now with the conservation instinct, or as we know it, the self-preservation, you have physical protection, we have sensations and our literal needs. We have health, we have fitness, we have stability and security. We have our well-being, survival, shelter, resources such as money and food, self-focus, comfort, our time, and also our energy. When it comes to your dominant instinct, this is where many people get confused because they think dominant instinct means you think about this, but it's something you feel very natural about and you think about it and you're just very comfortable in this instinctual variant, right? But that's not really true. You know, it's your dominant, but that doesn't mean you're just chilling and relaxing about it. In fact, your dominant is the one that you are most neurotic about. Sexual fixates on those things, this intensity, and when they feel that this kind of intensity, they're losing that intensity, they will do anything to keep it. To one person looking at the sexual subtype person, they might think, wow, they're being kind of crazy right now because they're not losing any intensity, everything is intact. But to the sexual subtype, they're so attuned, they're so fixated on that to them, even losing just a bit makes them freak out. Now, when it comes to your secondary instinct, in fact, that's the one when you're chilling. If he's good, you can do it, you can play with it, you can toy with it, you indulge in it, no problem. And with the third one, which we call blind, obviously, that's where it is neglected. Now, you having a dominant instinct and a secondary instinct, it creates a certain dynamic. SP types, like an SPSO, can actually have an easier time navigating relationships in a more balanced way than someone who's a social subtype. For example, than a social 7 or a social 8 or a social 9. Those people would actually have a harder time navigating them. And I don't mean because they don't have the ability to navigate. No. Because they're more neurotic. We see the social 7 reacting with such rejection when people don't see them to be extraordinary. They're so sensitive to it in a way that an SP7 never would be. It just wouldn't cross their fucking mind. Like, yeah, whatever the fuck, I don't give a shit. But for the social 7, it's the end of the world. That's the neurotic, excessive reaction. SP type would be like, oh shit, I only have $3,000 in my bank account. Oh my fucking god, I'm broke, oh my god. There's this fear of losing security, of losing that stability to our instinct. Instinctual variants aren't just completely ignored, because a subtype is created from instinctual variants. So a social 3 is not just a social 3 because, oh, That's just he has certain traits and we call that social 3. No, it's because the social instinct gets intertwined with vanity and then we get the social 3. You have to still take into consideration the instinctual variants and how they impact the subtype. For example, Vi. And that's why I realized with someone like Vi, because I was watching her and I'm like, so this is someone who gives zero fucks about her own survival. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about her survival, her fucking needs, her protection, her safety, getting her own personal satisfaction. She never cared about that. And that's when I realized, well, if she doesn't care about that, she cannot be the self-preservation aid. Because that's the neurotic need of the self-preservation aid. The fixation on the conservation instinct. So she's not that. Instead, we see what is she really fixated on. She's scared of losing people close to her, right? She's scared of losing those relationships. She's scared of not belonging. She's always putting her fucking fists in the service of other people. It's always about others. She sacrifices her body for other people. We look at Enneagram as a whole, not in isolation. So anyway, if you guys have any questions about the instinctual variants, comment down below. Hopefully I did not forget to mention anything that was actually of importance. I'm goings and I'm bouncing.